Good evening, everyone. I hope you are doing well. This is Hibat Jazuli, head of Google Developer Group on campus, Sudan University of Science and Technology. I am really happy to welcome you all to today's mock interview session with Google. In this session, we will learn more about how interviews at Google work, what skills are important, and how you can get ready for them. We are very glad to have with us amazing engineers from Google who will share their stories and useful tips to help you prepare better. زين مكي senior software engineer, يحيى نجيب software engineer, أحمد خالد software engineer. I hope you all enjoy and learn something new today. Let's begin our session.
Yeah. Thank you, Heba. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's session. I am Ahmed, and I will be your host today. Just give me one moment. I hear an echo. So, can you share the screen, please? Uh, so, welcome, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we start, maybe we can take a few minutes to run through it. So, if you haven't already, please scan the QR code and register your information because this is a very good opportunity to share your information with Google recruiters. So don't miss it out. And in the meantime, we can play some music. And while we're waiting, please share with us where you're joining us from, what country, maybe in the comment section below. Okay, I think we can start now. I hope everyone already joined us. And again, good evening, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Uh, Thank you for joining us today. I'm sorry, can you give me a minute? I hear an echo. I can't hear myself. Okay, I hope that you can hear us good now. And now we can start our session. Again, welcome everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And welcome to our session. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Hedda and Ala, for hosting us today. Thank you. I still hear the echo. Okay, so if you can't hear it, then maybe it's something is wrong with my computer. So I will mute the computer and just say whatever I have to say. Okay, so in today's session, me, Zain, and Yahya will take you through a Google demo of how a Google interview looks like. But before you join, as I said again, please register your information, scan the QR code. This is a good opportunity to share your information with Google recruiters, so don't mess it up. Go to the next slide. Uh, okay, so today's session is the third session of a series that we started back in March with GDG, Khartoum University of Technology, and other GDGs across the world. And in the first session, we were talking about a CV workshop. So this is how to prepare your CV, how to write it in a good way that highlights your skills. And in the second session, we were talking about how to prepare and study for a Google interview. So if you haven't seen the sessions, please check it out. It's recorded, so you can see it on YouTube on any other platform after today's session. And in today's session, you will be hearing from me, from Zain, and from Yahya about how Google interview should look like, how the interactions between an interviewer and interviewee should look like, with some recap and some Q&A at the end. So before we start, maybe you can give you a round of introduction about ourselves, starting with Yahya. Starting with Yahya.
Hello, everyone. I'm Yahya Naguib, software engineer at Google. I joined Google 2 years ago. I'm working at the Kubernetes team, specifically in the performance and scalability team. And in general, I have 4+ years of experience as a software engineer, worked front end, back end, and full stack engineer. Also, I graduated from the German University in Cairo, holding the bachelor degree in computer science and engineering.
Thank you, Yahya, and maybe we go with Zain.
Hello, my name is Zain. I'm a software engineer here at Google. I've been here for like 5 years. I'm specialized in like backend systems. I've worked in mainly like 2 teams. One was a Google Compute Engine, and recently I've joined Gemini Code Assist. I'm originally from Lebanon, where I got my bachelor degree, but I also got a master's degree from Arizona State University.
Thank you, Zain. And about me, my name is Ahmed. I'm a software engineer at Google. I joined Google early 2020. And before that, I was working also as a full stack software engineer in Egypt. And at Google, I'm working as part of Google Cloud Networking Security team. And I also graduated from Faculty of Engineering, Alexandria University, in 2020. And I'm happy to be here with you today. So before we start, we can have some house rules. The first thing is this session is going to be 1 hour and 20 minutes at the end for your questions. So if you have any question, make sure to write it down so that you don't forget it, and keep it at the end so that we can answer all your questions all at once. And please remember, this session is about how Google interview should look like. It's not about solving the problem. It's about the interaction between the interviewer and the interviewee. It's about how to act as an interviewee and how to understand the question, how to present your ideas, and how to translate those ideas into code, and how to communicate those ideas with the interviewer. So it's not about solving the question. Please focus on those points, not on solving the question. And last but not least, please have fun. This presentation we prepared to make sure that you have a better understanding of how a Google interview should look like, and hopefully you will get to this point at the end and you will have better understanding and you will be more prepared to go through a Google interview. And without further ado, let's start the interview. So
Yeah, thank you, Ahmed. So, yeah. Okay, so hello, Zain. It's Yahya Naguib, your interviewer today.
Hello, Yahya. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So today we will have our interview. It will be a 45-minute interview. The first part, it will be about solving a problem that I will ask you about. And later on, we will have a few minutes at the end to for you, if you want to ask anything regarding Google, anything in your mind you want to ask about. So before we begin, first of all, do you hear me well? Do you have any echo?
No, I can hear you great.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, once you are ready, let me know and we can start the problem.
Yeah, I'm ready. We can start.
Okay, perfect. I want to confirm that you will be using Java, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and you have access to the link.
Yeah, I can see the doc, and let me.
Yeah,
I can modify it.
Okay, perfect. All right, I will post the question right now.
Okay.
Okay, so a word is defined to be reducible if you can remove one letter at a time, getting another valid word at each step until you are left with one letter word. So, for example, we have starting, and then we can remove the T, the second T, and we have steering, and then we have string after removing the A, and then we go to sting, then sing, sin, in, and finally to the N. So this word starting is considered reducible in this case.
Okay. Okay, so let me read this again just to make sure that I understood it correctly. Okay, so we are defining a term called reducible for a word, and it's saying that we can, okay, the condition is we can remove one letter at a time and then get a valid word at each step until we reach one letter word. Okay, so so we got a word and we need to check whether it's reducible or not. Okay. Yeah, just to clarify to frame this a bit, is there any conditions like on so this word is a string, right? And is it characters? Can it be numbers or like some special characters?
The input is like normal characters, so no integers or like numbers, and no special characters.
Okay, that's good. No numbers, no special characters. Okay. And okay, so what about like if this word is like an empty string, for example? Is it considered valid or invalid?
Empty string is a valid input, but it's not reducible.
Okay, so I should expect it, but you're saying it should return. Okay, it's not reducible, so it's false. Okay. And you're talking here about like checking if the word is valid. Like how do I know if like a word is valid? Is it like, do I have something I can check?
Yeah, you can assume that you have a function that you just pass to it any word, and it will return either it's valid or not, like a true or false.
Okay, so I have a function that will pass a word and it returns the true false. Okay, Boolean. Okay, cool. I think I understand this. Let me try to think about the solution. Okay, I will take an example, probably a smaller example than starting, just to be to make it faster. So let's take an example. Let's say cat. Okay, so this says that we need to remove one letter at a time. So we, for example, start from 0 and remove C. Okay, so we remove C. Now we are at. Now we check if at is valid, and it says yes. And if it is valid, then we need to go ahead and remove another letter. So we remove also at 0. So we remove, for example, the A. And when we remove the A, we get T. Then is, okay, so you're saying until we reach a one-letter word. So can I assume that any one-letter word is valid, right? Because how would it be invalid, right?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so one letter, so reducible, right? So then true. Okay. Okay, this is kind of a happy case, like a very happy scenario. because like this is just works by removing the first character, but that's like a very special case. So maybe we need to think about something else, like something that might not work as smooth as this one. So maybe T. So for T, for example, we remove the T, then we get EA. EA is, let's say, not valid. Okay, so now we cannot go further with EA. We need to go back. So this is some kind of backtracking here. So we need to go back to T, and yeah, and maybe remove the E. So remove E, which is at index 1 now, and then we are left with Ta. Let's assume Ta is valid, just for argument's sake.
Okay.
Okay, Ta is valid, then we need to process Ta, and we remove T, then we get A, and one letter, so valid. Okay. Okay, this looks like we're doing like the same work over and over again, so seems like there might be some kind of a recursion. So if I want to think about like steps, yeah, it looks like we're like looping over the word we have at hand at the moment. Remove character starting like 0 going forward, then check the new word that we just got, if it is valid. If it is valid, then we move the I. Sorry, if it's valid, like, and then we yeah, if it is valid, then we just process this new word and like remove at like do the same for this for the new word.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is not valid, then we try with I equal 1, and it looks like we need to repeat here. Repeat. Okay, and I guess we need to stop at some point, hopefully. So the base case here seems to be when the letter is, base case is when length of word is 1. Okay, and we need some validations here, like validations for empty. Yeah, this sounds like a recursion for me. As we see here, like we get a word, we check if it's like 1, length 1, then we're done. Otherwise, we just loop, try to remove like characters. Like looks like we're like looking over for like these permutations of like, oh, let's remove a character and see if it's valid. If it's valid, then we start doing the same for the new word like that we just like got. Otherwise, we try to remove some other letter and like do the same and repeat that over and over again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not thinking about optimizations yet. Like, do you want me to like, because this might be a bit slow. Do you want me to think about optimization or?
No, I think this could be a good start.
Okay.
And we can start with this solution, and later on we can think about optimization.
Okay. So I can go ahead and start writing the code, you mean?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. So I'll just create a class just here, word reducer, let's say. I'll just write these steps in now in code. So so we said we have a is valid that takes a string word and returns returns a boolean. So this is given to us, so I'll just not worry about it. We need some other is reducible, and we have string word also. Okay, so we said we need to validate first, so we check if word.length is 0, then we return false. Okay, so this is just validation, and we do now the base case, which is if length equals 1. In this case, we need to return true. So this is our base case. And yeah, now we go through the word. So okay, so we'll go through the word and increment the index 1 by 1. We need to try to get the new word from here. So this step here, we have a new word. So to get this new word, we need to remove the character at index I. To do that, we just go with string or var on new word and do word dot substring from 0 to I, and then concatenate that with substring of I. Yeah, I think yeah, there is an overload for this that just goes from I to the end of the string. So I think it should be fine. This we just removed the character I this way. So now we got a new word with this, and we need to do the same. We need to check if new word. I'm sorry, if is valid the one that you were given to us, new word, then we just yeah, do the same. So we repeat. We need to call this is reducible again and pass this new word. Okay, so this is our recursion here. Return this. And if it's not valid, then we just move the I and try with something else. Yeah, so try with 1, so I++, which already happens here. Okay, let me see. Yeah, it look. I think we're missing a return statement here. So yeah, if we reach here, it means like we didn't go through this valid path. So I think it's false. Okay. Yeah, I think this is just like the translation of these steps to code, but I need to can I test it? I need to go ahead and like test it with some examples.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's try this cat, for example, that we had before, just the happy path first. So it's reducible and word is cat. So length 0, no. Length 1, no. We go here. I is 0, so we substring, we remove C, so we're at, and then is valid for at. We're assuming it's true. So yeah, we go to is reducible, and then we call is reducible again with at. So now we have at. These are false. We go to at. We remove A, where T is valid. Yes, reducible for T. We go here for T, length equal 1, returns true. So this returns true. So it's over. Okay, so the happy path at least is working. Let me try, yeah, T just really quick. Okay, so T, we have T here. We substring, so we have EA. Is it valid? No. So we don't do this. We just go back and go to try it different. So try removing E. So now we have ta. We said let's assume ta is valid, right? I think so. Is valid? Yes. Reducible for ta. We get ta here. No. Go back here. A. A is a single word, and then words. Okay. Okay. So at least these two examples that they work. So maybe we need to try something that actually doesn't work. So something that doesn't work. I mean, okay, let's try. Let's assume here that
here before going to another example, can you check again, like the EA, like the EA should be yeah, it was not valid. Okay, I think okay, so it was good. Yeah, you can go ahead with another example.
Okay, I need to start with. I'm thinking I want to start with something that actually doesn't work. Like, for example, we're starting with T. Maybe what happens if you have like ZT, like some word that doesn't actually, it's not valid initially. So if we get like ZT here, then length equals 0, now 1, then we got ZT here, and then we substring it, and we get T, and then we do this. Okay, we already gone through this T path, but I think there's a problem here, because like ZT is not valid, but it looks like we only check for valid for after we remove a character. So this should return false actually, because the initial word is not valid, so there is no way you can construct something valid from it. Yeah, so I think we might need to check if it's valid somewhere here. For example, here. Yeah, probably if it's not valid, then we return false. Yeah, so if length is 0 or it's not valid, we return false. This way we get ZT, then we check, we return false immediately, then it's fine. Okay, now I just want to see if actually we need this one here, because we're already doing the check here. So whatever new word we got, we need to call is reducible, so we will check for is valid here. So probably we don't need this. Okay. Yeah, but like I think this way, I'm just concerned about the yeah, I think the backtracking is a bit like concerning, because I need to see where it's happening. So we said for backtracking that if we go to a path and like we reach a case where it's false, so this returns false somewhere. We need to like backtrack and try something else. And here, if this returns false, we're just returning false immediately. So I think, yeah, we need here to actually check and see if it is actually reducible. Then we return true. But if it's not reducible, then we need to like continue doing the other thing. So we go on a path here for new words, and at some point we return false. Then here we don't go through this path, and then we like with backtracking we just go back and move the I. Yeah. So I think this should cover it.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so now can you tell me what is the complexity of this code?
Yeah, sure. Time complexity, you mean?
Yeah, time complexity.
Okay, let's try to break this down. So is reducible. Okay, this is fine. Okay, we have this is valid, and like, can I assume it's constant time, or like is there some complexity that's
no, we can assume it's constant time.
Okay. Okay, so this is 1 and this is 1. Okay, this is this will process the entire, like that. This is dependent on length of the words, assuming a word of length n, and this is O of n as a iteration. Substring. Yeah, substring is actually interesting, because I think it depends on the version of Java. It might be something or the other. So can I assume we're using like latest versions, for example, where it is O of n?
Yeah, of
otherwise
course.
Yeah, okay, because I think for that it was also constant. Okay, so I think here's the main thing, is that this is reducible, we'll actually do like we'll pass a word that's O of n minus 1 at some point, then pass a word that's O of n minus 2, and then pass a word that's of size n minus 3. And we have n here, and this is like we'll keep multiplying. So I think that this will be, yeah, if we just multiply these things in like this recursion, we'll get something like n times like n minus 1 times like n minus 2 times something until we reach 1. So there might be some extra n's here for this, but like I think with such a complexity, they'll probably just be ignored because it will be some factorial, which is the like dominant component here. So it's something in the order of n factorial, maybe plus times some other thing, but I think the n factorial will just dominate.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, it's quite slow, but yeah, it's also a good solution. So now can we think about some optimizations for this n factorial? Can we make it better?
Okay. Okay, so most of the work, or actually, the work is happening here. Okay, there's nothing we can do for this, I'm assuming, as like it's not the problem, at least. It's not the biggest problem we have. Biggest problem we have is here. So, and we need to. Okay, just thinking if there's some kind of like work that we can cut, like something that we're doing that's unnecessary or repetitive. Yeah, like unnecessary, probably not. We're not doing anything we don't need, maybe repetitive. So yeah, because like for these words that we are saying here, like it's not easy to see, but like I'm thinking that if we have some large word that's like something like whatever it is, I don't know, we're like stuck to EA examples now, but yeah, so assuming you have like some large word, and you're going to, what we're doing is like we are generating like some kind of permutations of like all the different subsequences of this, like subsequences, like we just remove a letter somewhere and like we just get some new word. So we have subsequences, and you can imagine here that like you can get, for example, EA multiple times, or you can even get EA multiple times. And if you're doing this backtracking and you're just exhausting all the paths, there's a chance that depending on the word that you see something that you've already seen before.
So yeah, how do you think we can solve this problem?
Okay. Yeah, so I think like we can do some caching here. So like if there's something that we already seen, then we can just put it into some cache, and then we can check if at some point if we've seen it before. And if we've seen it, then we just, okay, what do we do? So yeah, I think that we need to cache like the paths that actually led us nowhere, because if there is a path that actually led us somewhere,
What
then
do you mean by somewhere? Like,
I mean, if there's a path that actually led us to the word being of length 1, it means that we already finished the problem, because we went all the way to the end. We just don't backtrack from that. Like we just return through, right? Return through here, and then we return through here. So we're like out of this this loop, and out of all the codes for reducible, just saying through all the way. So yeah, so I'm thinking that we probably just cache the paths that led us to false, so that we don't just go there again and just waste time by doing work that we already did and like did not lead to any a good result.
Yeah.
Like, does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Okay. Do you want me to implement it, or?
Yes, please. You can add the new code like up over this code, like.
Okay. Let me just clean things up. Okay, so we need okay, so we said when we're saying we don't care about like the paths where we go to true, for example. So it seems like this cache can be just a set. We don't need like a map, because like we don't care about like if it's true or false. It's just we need to see if we've seen it before or not. So we need a set, and we need to. Okay, like usually when you have a recursion and you have a set, I think you need to pass it through the recursion. So I think I'll just create like some higher level function here. That's called like is reducible with string word. So this is the like the initial the one that we will call from this class, like you can use. And then we need to create a set. Let's call it non-reducible words, maybe. These are the words that we've seen, but were not reducible because they led us to false. Okay, and it's a new hash set. Okay, and then we just need to return, we call this thing here word, and we need to pass this this cache into this function here. So we need this function actually to accept a set. Yeah, we can just copy this non-reducible words. Okay, so we call this function, which is the word initially. We just create a set and call this again. Yeah, so now we just not need to update this code. So we need to, okay, we said paths that are here, like when we check if it's not valid word, then like if the word is not valid, like there's no reason to just process it again. If we see it again, it'll be the same result. So we'll just put the value here. It was add thing, sorry. Yeah, we just put the word here.
Okay.
So now we need to use it. So here's, we add it here. Now we need to use it. So we can use it. So we need to return false if we've seen the word before. Yeah, but okay, we don't want to add it maybe again. So maybe let's do this. Okay, so if this thing contains the word, then we just return false. It means that we've seen it before and we already went through this path where it was not valid, so we returned false, but we added it to this cache. And here, if we've seen it before, then we return false, but yeah. I'm just also, yeah, I think I'm thinking about this here, because this also returns false. And if we're saying that like we need to add this cache to all the places where we've seen false, so I think we also need to do it here. Otherwise, we're just missing on some words. Sorry, add word. Okay, I think this might be wrong now, so I'll just clean it up. Yeah, this is fine. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think this should be what we've described, which is like, okay, if I've seen a word, I'll just add it to the cache, check it again, and just return false. Reducible contains, yeah. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, sounds reasonable, but now can you tell me how much did we save? Like what is the new complexity in terms of time? Like what is the new time complexity?
Okay. Yeah, so we already had factorial, and factorial on the basis that we are going through all the permutation of subsequences. So now if we introduce the cache, yeah, so if we're talking about the worst case, and the worst case is that like we have subsequences that are redundant, then okay, what you will be processing for a word will be will be like kind of the number of all the unique subsequences that you can see. So like I think like just saying the number itself might be a bit difficult because it depends on the like how many what's the word and how many unique subsequences you will be able to generate from this. Because I'll just like give an example here. Like for example, you can think that you might have a word where like you can generate just like too many unique words. If it's like an actual like some long valid word in like some language, but in the case where there are repetitions, so I think it will be something like the total. Yeah, so runtime here optimized. I think it will be something like the combination that leads to all the unique subsequences that you can generate from this word. I think it'll definitely be like better than O of n on factorial on the basis that you have repetitions in the word. If you don't have repetitions, then like you don't have anything to do, because like you will have to look at different words. But in the worst case, which is like there is no valid path, you need to like keep trying every combination of this word, all the combinations, until you just like exhausted all the combinations. So I think it'll be like the number of unique subsequences you can generate from the word. Probably there's some like mathematical formula, but I don't think we can translate it easily to some O of something. But it'll definitely be better than O of n factorial, assuming that we've seen a bunch of repetitive words here.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Okay, good. I think we come to an end to our interview.
Okay.
Let me know if you have any questions before we wrap up.
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Yahya and Zain, for this amazing illustration. I hope by now everyone has a slightly better understanding of how to prepare for an interview, or what you'd expect in a Google interview. And I hope now you're more interested in joining Google. And now we can move to the next part of our presentation, of our session. So can we present the slides again, please? Okay. Just one moment. Okay, so now you've seen the interview and how the interactions were from between the interviewer and the interviewee. We can give you a quick recap of what points are important to focus on, and what points are actually considered important by the interviewer. And maybe Yahya can give us this presentation.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ahmed. So now, as we saw in the interview, we can divide the interview, like as an interview, as a candidate doing the interview, into 5 parts, and each part is very important. So the first one is clarifying the question. It's the part where you make sure that you understand the question. You read it out loud to make sure that you understand every word in it. You make sure that if there is any word which is new to you, make sure that you ask about it. Make sure that you understand this word correctly and 100%. And then you can start thinking about any edge cases, about any about the input. What will be the input? What is the input format? Numbers, integers, negative numbers, zeros, anything you can think about. Make sure that you clarify it in this part, so you understand the question very well, understand the input, the output, what is the question about, and then you can go for the next step, which is designing a solution. and make sure that designing a solution, you don't have to write code at all at this part. So as you saw, this is what Zain did, which was trying to brainstorming out loud using normal sentences, writing down the steps that he's thinking about or that you are thinking about, like just designing the solution. Make sure that based on the understanding you got from the question, from the first step, that you are designing a correct solution, and you create a concrete solution. Then from this point, you confirm that with your interview that your interviewer, with your interviewee, that you're gonna start on writing the code. So you have a concrete solution. You made sure that the solution is applied, like is applying to the question. You tested it, you tested the examples with against your design, and then you go writing the code. So while you are writing the code, again, try to follow the design that you just talked about and you thought about. Make sure you follow every step. Make sure that you write and explain everything you are doing to make sure that the interviewee is on track with you. And then once you finish writing your code, make sure that you test your code. And it's okay, totally okay, to find bugs. And to find bugs, it won't happen without testing your code. So test your code against the given examples, test your code against new examples, similar to what Zain did in the interview. So Zain came up with some new words that wasn't mentioned in the example, in the question, and he tested his code against it, made sure that the code is working. And even though he catched a bug, he catched something that was wrong in his code, and then based on that he adjusted back. And that's totally normal. It's not negative at all. It's the opposite. It's a good thing that you catch your own bugs. And finally, which is the time management. Of course, time management is something that encapsulates the interview. Like it's something that's happening through the interview, not at a specific time. So during the interview, make sure that you give enough time for the question, clarifying the question, but do not give a lot of time in this part, to make sure that you have enough time to design, to write your code, and to test. And of course, at the end, also don't give hard examples on yourself that will take a lot of time to test. Make sure that you have different test cases, but still small ones that you can just finish in time. Don't spend a lot of time in testing, because sometimes you can have a follow-up question, or maybe you can optimize your code. So make sure that you time manage every step of the ones we mentioned. And of course, always ask your interview if you continue, or if you want to give more examples. In that case, your interview will guide you if you have to continue in this step, or you will be moving on to another step. And now I hope everyone enjoyed our interview, and I think it's time for the Q&A.
Okay, thank you so much, Yahya. And thank you everyone for staying with us today. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below and we can answer them. We have 20 minutes to do so. And also, in the meantime, if you haven't already, please scan the QR code, register your information, so that it can be shared with Google recruiters. And after the event, we also have a feedback form. We would highly appreciate if you have any feedback to share it with us. If you have any ideas of future sessions that we can make, if you have feedback for this session, we're happy to hear from you.
Okay. No one has any questions? I believe there is some. Okay, I see. First question, yeah. So is it okay if we don't solve the question? That's a very good question. It's a bit tricky to answer this one, but we can say that the important part about the interview is communicating and of course, showing your skills. Maybe you don't have enough time to finish the question, but we can't say it's 100% okay to not solve the question. And we can't say that it's 100% you have to solve it, or like it's all or nothing. It's not all or nothing, it's the process. So you don't solve the problem, you don't solve the question, you can still be doing good if you did good throughout the communication, about thinking, explaining your ideas, explaining the code. So yeah, I think by that I could answer the question. Okay, we have another question. So since time allotted is 45 minutes, so we don't need to go from root to optimal, or we can start with better, then move to optimal solution. Okay, I will rephrase the question. So I think you are asking, if we only have 45 minutes, is it okay to go with some normal solution before going to optimal solution? That's totally normal. Of course, if you have from the beginning the optimal solution, you can just go and implement it. But sometimes you don't have the optimal solution from the first time, and you have another solution. So if you have a solution in general, a solution, if either it's brute force or optimal or whatever, just start with the solution, because having a solution is better than just keep thinking about an optimal solution without writing code at the end. So it's very important to write code. So writing code for a normal solution, we can say, not an optimal one, is better than thinking about optimal solution without writing it down. Okay, moving to another question. Is it only Java, or it's based on what language we know? Oh, of course, it's based on, there is a lot of other languages. You make sure that you can pick whatever language you know. I believe so. Maybe there is some set of languages we have, but I think it's covering all, at least the famous languages like Go, JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, Java, and a lot more. I don't have the full list, but make sure that you confirm that with your HR, like your recruiter. And of course, a lot of other languages are supported. Okay, next question. Yeah, I see other question. Maybe we are not moving it, but yeah, any last tips before my phone? Yeah, I lost the question. Yeah, before my phone screen interview early next week. I think you can follow the sessions we made. Like, we have another session, since I think you already passed the CV part. So we have another session which will be very interesting and very helpful for you. It's about what happens exactly in the interview. Like, this one was like a mock interview, or like giving an example what happens inside it. But there is another one with more details and more tips and tricks about how to prepare, since you have 1 week. So you can prepare during this 1 week, and also what you are gonna expect and what tips you can do to make make sure that you are gonna ace this interview. And good luck with it. Next question. Okay, I'm right now going through the comments. So there is another question from Ziad Ashraf. What if I forgot a complexity for some built-in function? And what if I couldn't find the optimized version of the solution? Tricky questions. Okay, so for the built-in functions, I would say it's based on like if the function is famous or not. So we assume that we know all the famous functions. If it is something not famous, but I would say if you know the function, you should know or at least you have an idea about the complexity. But using a function that you don't know its complexity, it's quite tricky. Zain, you have something to add here?
Yeah, like I think usually you want to answer the complexity for the entire problem, and for that you need to break it down into some stuff. So if there's something that for example you forgot, you totally don't remember, like you can definitely like ask your interviewer if you can assume it is X. So maybe like you kind of give them a signal that you actually don't know it, but like you want to assume something so that you can build on it. Maybe they can help you, give you a hint, or like they tell you, yeah, you can assume X. So the goal is that you can progress with like whatever knowledge you have. So like don't get stuck on something that like prevents you like or hinders you from progressing. So you can communicate with your interviewer, ask them if you can assume something, whatever. You can say, can I assume it's a constant time, like something similar to what I said about this given function that Yahya, but like I understand you're asking about different case. But I think you want to like move, like you don't want to get stuck. So like if you just don't remember it, like ask your interviewer, can I assume it's constant? Or like you can say, I don't remember, I think it might be constant. And maybe they can give you a hint, or like if they just let you continue, then probably you can just continue with whatever you said and move forward. The second part was, what if I couldn't find an optimized version of the solution? I mean, if you couldn't find it, then like you should do the best that you can do. So when we said, for example, start with brute force, that's because usually you might not be able to find optimized, and it's easier if you can find something optimized, like you can communicate with the interviewer and do it. But usually it's easier to find something brute force, like then find the bottlenecks, like we did, find why it's slow, where it's slow, and try to build on top of it. But always like communicate with the interviewer. If you're doing brute force, you can tell them like, oh, like I'll start with something brute force, and then I will think about optimization. They will tell you if you move with that, or like they will tell you if they want something else from you. Okay, next question. Okay, Sayed is saying, I saw many people in Google, but in software engineering or reliability roles, but I don't see anyone join Google in AI roles. Why? I have friends who join in AI roles, so definitely there are a lot of people joining in AI roles, like directly working on like models or data scientists, or like building products that are related to AI. Like I'm an example. So I work in Gemini Code Assist. So I work in like a product that is in AI. But definitely there are a lot of people who are joining for AI roles. Yeah, maybe it just happened that like you didn't they were not like in the examples that you have seen. Okay, anyone wants to take this one, or I can try.
You can continue. Maybe I can take the next one.
Okay, how should I recover if they give a bad answer? It's okay to admit you don't know something. I think like one thing that's I think super crucial that I usually advise people is that, and it's also one of the main thing why people decide to like stay silent at the beginning of the interview and not like clarify, is that they think that if they say something partially incorrect or like something incorrect, especially at the beginning of the interview, but like I think throughout, like especially at the beginning, because you think that this interview is kind of simulation of how you would work. Some like, for example, you got a ticket and you need to work. Well, like I work with Yahya, for example, on a ticket, and we just received something. Like we'll probably say a bunch of stuff at the beginning, like that might be not true, or like we're trying to clarify, we're trying to think about it and like go through some thought process. So the best thing to avoid this problem is that you actually test things by like example and checking if things work, and then like recovering from it by like changing the approach. This is like a very bad thing in terms of time management. Usually you don't want to go very deep in a path and then go back. It's good like to check this as soon as possible. Usually your interviewer, if they find you going like in a very bad like path, they will try to like steer you to something that's better. So give you a hint or something, which is also not bad. Like if you got a hint, you don't need to like panic or something. It's okay if you admit you don't know something. I don't think in an interview it like helps you if you say, I don't know how to solve this question, for example. That's not like that doesn't help you in any way to just say, oh, I give up, for example. Like you should try the best you can with whatever time you have. Even if you were given hints or you did something bad, like you still have whatever 15 minutes, like try your best in the 15 minutes. I know it's like easier said than done, but I think like the best thing you can do is like try to do your best in the remaining of time so that you give as many positive signals as possible and like demonstrate yourself in the best way.
Okay, the next question from Ziad Ashraf. What are the main data structure algorithms topics that I need to know if I'm applying for software engineer, software reliability engineer intern position and about to have an interview? Is there any problem solving plans sheets that is there any problem solving plans? Okay. So first of all, the first part of the question, I think we, like, if you can check the first, like the second or the previous session we made, we have a list of the data structure and algorithms topics that we recommend to like to revise on them or make yourself familiar with, because yeah, we could, like, our questions in Google are based on them. That's the first part of the question. The second part, plans and sheets, that we recommend. I'm not sure if there's something that we 100% recommend. Yeah, sure, Zain.
Yeah, I think like also one thing to add is that like usually recruiters, like when you get contacted by a recruiter, they provide you with resources about like the reference material and things to read, like things to learn and so on. So usually like recruiters want to like set you up for success, and like they want, like it's good for their job if you succeed. So they give you like resources and like stuff so that you can read them and so on. I think that's your best reference usually.
Yeah.
And there are like a lot of like also resource, let's say platforms online that you can also use to simulate this thing and try, or you can also pick a friend and let them like do such a simulation for you.
So the next question is, in case we got any wrong answer, but our process was completely right, then do we get disqualified straight?
I think I feel like I can also help you with this one. Like okay, I think the way you're looking at the interview is that like there's like some kind of a yes no, big yes no question, like answer based on it. Like that's not how things are measured. There's we have like a defined things that, like different things that we check to be able to say the final answer. Like there's of course a final answer, but like what to do with the candidate. But like it's not like there's one thing that just like disqualifies you completely. Like there is a bunch of signals that also Yahya mentioned about different things that you can demonstrate. And like if you have also, like depending on which round you are in, you might get multiple interviews. So we combine different things from multiple interviews to make like the final answer. So I think like, yeah, thinking about like you've said one sentence or you did one thing wrong and that disqualifies you, I think like this doesn't help you. I think like this doesn't help you be less nervous. I think thinking this way. So I think it's like yeah, you need to like don't think about it this way. Just think about doing the best you can with like whatever with the time you have.
Yes. And the next question, what if they ask a question you don't know how to answer? So I think this also falls to the same question like the previous question. So again, it's about the process, the whole process throughout the interview, how you interact, how you communicate, how you think, how you show your skills about thinking, about writing code. So it's not, as Zain mentioned, a yes or no at the end. Like it's, if you answered 100% the question completely right, you will be hired. If not, you will not be hired. It's not like that. So it's about the process. And again, like something to be mentioned here. So even if you saw a question that you answered before and you just wrote the code, wrote the answer without talking at all, this won't be a good result. So even if you answered the question 100%, but you didn't communicate, you didn't show your skills, this won't be easy on the recruiter to give you a yes, because you didn't show your skills. So it works both ways. If in case you didn't answer, like you didn't get the correct answer, and even if you got the correct answer, it's like getting the answer is part of the interview, not the whole interview. Yeah, moving forward. Next question is, how many problems are solved in each interview? Isn't it always one? What is the optimal time for each of the 4 steps you mentioned? Should I be writing all what I'm thinking of, like Zain did?
Yeah, I can take this one if you want.
Okay.
Since I mentioned there. Okay, so like usually you might get one or more questions in the interview, like depending on like different factors, depending on like different questions. Like, and I don't know if you, for example, you might get like some follow-up questions on the same question, or you might get some other questions, for example, because like it also depends on the time. I think you shouldn't you shouldn't assume that you will get just one question, because like this doesn't help you, because then you will panic if you get something else. Like for example, there's like some 10 minutes at the end of the interview and the interviewer wants to discuss something with you, like you can assume that you've just got a question at the beginning, for example. And you can just go through the second question similar to where you go for the first question. If you, for example, got a second question in the last X minutes, like the expectations is not like you do the same as you've gotten it in the first, for example. So like it's like you're judged like you're assessed based on the time you have available and what you can do with this time. We will not expect you to do in 10 minutes what, for example, you can do in 40 minutes. That's like unfair. So we try like based on the time you have, what you did at that point. Maybe the interviewer expects just discussions from you, not writing the code. So don't panic. They ask you some questions, try to solve it, try to think about it, and that's fine. Like you might get one or more questions in interview depending on the. Sorry, there was a second part of the question, previous question, that says, should I write my thought process? And I think like what we're doing is kind of a framework that we think works for like kind of like in the worst case. Like if you can solve a problem, like you can practice yourself. If you can solve a problem with like less steps, for example, than what I did, if you can translate your ideas into code without like writing the steps down, we think writing the steps down is good for you, so that like you agree on the steps and you know when you go to code, you're just thinking about mainly code and you're not doing a lot of like thinking while coding about the algorithm. Like that's not something that like it's like we want you to do. That's something that we think as a framework, this session we think as a framework helps you achieve a result, like helps you find an answer, helps you do these things. So you can, when you practice, you can try it. If you see that it helps you, then if you can do without it, like without, for example, typing the concrete steps, you just need to take an example and just describe things like just by speaking, and that's fine. This is like a framework we suggest. It's not the only framework that you can use to succeed.
Okay, the next question. Yeah, the previous question, please. If I saw the question, should I tell the interviewer that I saw this question before? Yeah, that would be good practice. And yes, this should happen. I think maybe the recruiter would ask you to do that. So, too. The next question, which is, from Aman, do we need to think of all possible test cases, or we can think of few and explain them accordingly? What do you mean all test cases? You mean, I think, yeah, like, yeah, I'm thinking. So
Like,
yeah, of course, if like all the we can say edge cases or like different test cases, not all test cases. Of course, it's I know what you mean. So yeah, like if there is different, so you can try to get test cases that give you the different paths in your code. So if there is an if condition, make sure that that you go into this if condition with one of your test cases. So make sure that the test cases you have covers all your code. If it is one test case, then that's it. If it is two test cases, then that's it, and so on. But you have to like test all your code. So it's based on how many test cases you need to test your code. How does the feedback form you fill after the interview look like?
Yeah, I can take this one because I already answered it partially before. So, like as I said before, like there are criteria that we assess the candidates based on, and like we assess all the candidates based on the same exact criteria. I mean, depending on the level, but I mean for the candidate in a role in a level, we assess based on different criteria. Like I can't tell you like what's like written in these criteria, but I can tell you that it's the same for everybody, so that like everybody is like assessed fairly. So I can think of it as a like a criteria based thing where we put like what happened and like what's our assessment. That's what I can tell you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next question is, if Google were to design a next generation service orchestration model that combines blockchain for trust and microservices for scalability, what design trade-offs would Google engineers prioritize? Okay, that's an interview question.
This is definitely outside of the scope of like what we're talking about in this interview. Definitely an interesting question. Like maybe we can discuss it outside of the scope of this session, or we can like send it to us like on other channels, and like we can do.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so Said is saying, sorry, Zain, for not providing enough information. My question, I mean, in early career position, not experienced, let's say fresh. Okay, I think it's about the AI positions. Is it possible for a fresh graduate from 1 to 2 years of experience at most to join, to join
Yeah,
AI
like,
position?
Like I advise you to go to like careers.google.com and look for the available positions, and in that section there are the minimum requirements for roles are available there. So if you see like there's a requirement that says like for like fresh graduates or like for 1 year of experience in like this field that you're talking about, then yeah, there is. Like I'm not like, I don't have like the list of all the exhaustive list of all the things that are open, for example, today. But like definitely there will be hiring, maybe not during this time of the year, maybe they'll be opening soon. So I think keep an eye on like careers.google.com, and like you can check the minimum requirements there. But I think it's possible. That's my answer.
Okay, how can we get access to the previous sessions? That's a good question.
We had QR codes on the one of the slides before. You can scan them and get access to the previous sessions.
And I think you can also find it in the same channel that you're watching this video on, or
if you're on YouTube, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next question is the same one where I can find the previous sessions. I hope the answer is clear now. Let us know also if you can't find it. Okay, now how can I make a strong first impression? Maybe if I'm not conversant with the problem at hand. I think following the steps we made, like going through the steps, like understand the question, clarify it for yourself, make sure that you understand the question. And yeah, like I will just mention the same points that we were just saying in the recap. So yeah, make sure that you understand the question and try to think, design a solution, then go for the code. This would definitely make you at a good position, like make a very good impression.
Yeah, I just like I want to say again this like the receiving a tickets problem, because I think this is the way you need to think about it. Like if you just received a ticket at work and you won't need to look at it, like what's the good first impression you make is by trying to understand it and like asking the questions that will make you understand the problem. So think of it this way, like it's a simulation of like how do you work, like how do you make a strong first impression if you got something and you don't fully understand it. You ask questions to understand it. So you find what you don't know, what you need to know in order to find the problems. I think that's the main thing you need to do. You don't need to find the answer immediately. You need to find a way to find the answer by like navigating through it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now with the next question from Ahmad Assam. Could you list the resources? From Ziad Ashraf first. How to deal with stress while the interview, especially the panic after figuring out that your solution is wrong after testing, or the interviewer gave me a test case that would hack my solution. So first of all, to deal with stress is preparing. Make sure that you prepare. Make sure that you practice mock interviews. There's a lot of platforms that give you this opportunity to practice mock interviews, because of course, like in Google interview, you are expecting a new question. You are not expecting a question that you solved before. So this is something that you will think about during the interview. So make sure that you practice a lot so that you know how to manage your time, and make sure that you feel okay if you found that there is a bug in your code or there is something wrong. It's totally okay. The point is to solve it. So make sure that once you find a bug, oh, it's okay, it's a bug, let's solve it. How to solve it? That's it. It's totally fine to make mistakes because everyone makes mistakes and this is something expected. So it's totally fine. Make sure that you understand that it's fine and just solve the problem.
Okay, I think someone's asking about resources again. I think we have linked resources in the previous session, which was like an exhaustive session about like tips about the interview and like the frameworks you can use, what to focus on, and so on. We had links for resources in that session, so you can find it on the same channel, that one if you're watching on YouTube, and there were a bunch of resources there aside from like the things we said already for the same question previously.
Yeah, and we just posted here in the same chat, like in the comments, the links for the 2 sessions, and inside them you can have all the resources. Like the one for the interview, the second one contains the resources, the lists of the topics, and yeah, everything related. This one, yep. Okay, back to the questions.
The question says, what are the most common mistakes you see candidates make during technical interviews or Googleness interviews? I'll talk about technical first because I think this is the scope of this one. Then I'll talk about Googleness. So I think for technical, I think like also our kind of framework that we're suggesting, going back to the one of the previous questions, is based on like patterns that we see also. Like for example, like you get a question, don't jump to coding first, because then you'll be doing multiple things at the same time. You haven't clarified the questions, you probably start coding, then you'll figure out stuff. You're highly likely to make mistakes, like if you just jump to coding. Then you need to think about algorithm and code at the same time. You're multitasking, doing multiple things, then that's a problem. You don't clarify the question, or like there's some word in the question that says something, but you just completely ignore it. Like everything in the question is important. If it says something, like it might be a constraint that changes the problem for you. So like reading the question carefully, asking the clarifying questions just to know what's included, what you don't need to worry about, and don't jump into coding. Take examples, make sure like you clearly understand, like propose a solution that works, and then go from there. Coding is kind of like the last piece of these these steps, not the first one. Usually, like if you go first one, you're kind of like, doing the wrong thing. That's for technical. For Googleness interviews, I think the best thing you do is to prepare ahead of time. The recruiter will give you some resources that are also related to this Googleness interview. It's good to prepare, like think about your career, think about stuff that happened before that matches these things, and prepare yourself to answer questions. Like don't go there and like, unless you have the skill of like being able to remember an interview where you're super nervous, prepare before, so that when you go, you know already, like, okay, if I have this scenario in my career, and I'll just map it to whatever question that will happen, will pop up in this interview. Otherwise, if you need to like remember on the spot, you're already nervous and stuff, and then things will not go well.
Okay, what does the recruiter focus on the most? As we mentioned, I think we answered the similar questions. So it's about the whole process. It's not about specific thing. We evaluate the candidate being evaluated based on multiple stuff, or like multiple things. As we mentioned before, I think we don't have to answer again, unless maybe there is something specific you're asking about. Should we aim for solving?
Sorry, like I think this is the one you were answering, right? I think you know like you should go through this process, like just to like you should find a solution. Like it's as fast if you can do it as fast as possible. That's great. Like you don't need to like if you can go faster, you don't need to go slower. That's like for sure. But I think you shouldn't assume, for example, that there is another question. There might be like follow-up questions, but like you shouldn't assume that, oh, I need to go fast and like do shortcuts and maybe don't think about test cases, or like don't think about edge cases because I need to keep some time for. It's better to get one. Let's assume there are two questions. What do you think is better? Get one question right and show some signals that you can do thought process, and show good signals. If you show good signals, probably the interviewer will say, oh, but you know how to solve a question. Maybe we didn't have time for the second question. Or is it better to like rush into the first question and like shortcut and do mistakes and maybe don't solve it, and then you just lost both questions? And you're also assuming that there is a second question, which might not be the case. So I think the first one is better. Like focus on what you have at hand, do best as you can at solving the problem. Do as fast as you can. Like don't waste time, like follow a framework. But like do best to solve the question you have at hand. Like you can worry about like something that might not happen. You can worry about it when it happens, which is the next question.
Yeah, and also just to add for Zain's answer, so it's not like to solve more problems as possible. It's not like that. It's always one problem, maximum two problems. It's always prepared by the interviewer to make sure that like if they are preparing two questions, that the scope of the interview could take the two questions. But it's not something that we are measuring how fast and how much you will solve in 45 minutes. It's not like that. Is it necessary to have strong English skills to perform well in the interview? You can say like English that the interviewer can understand.
Yeah, I think you need English to work, so you need to be able to communicate with like your colleagues. So if you like, you need to also be communicating with the interviewer. I think you can also talk to the recruiter about these things to see if you have like concerns about like communication during the interview and so on, and they can advise you. But like usually, if you're expected to work, like for example in English and at work, then it makes sense that, for example, you will need to be able to communicate clearly, because if you can't communicate clearly in the interview, how can you communicate clearly during work? So like the interview is like a reflection of how you will do at work. That's the main point of it. It's like for us to see how you will do at work. So I think some reasonable level of communication in English. You don't have to be like fluent, or you don't have to like have a perfect English, but like if you can communicate your ideas in English, then that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Next question. We often hear that we may not always agree with the interviewer. How should we handle those situations, especially during approach, discussion, design rounds where we ask to justify our approach?
Yeah, can I say one thing about this? Just the important thing is that like the interviewer is not trying to trick you. Like the point, like the interviewer does not try to trick you. Like they don't try to, like, the goal for them is not to trick you. Like they might ask you questions just to make sure that you know why you're doing and why you're doing it. Or maybe they are trying to like draw your attention to something that you haven't, or like they're just trying to make sure that you are, like, you know what you're doing, and like you can justify what you did, your approach, and so on. So like their goal is not to trick you into this situation. So you might not agree with them in terms of like they ask you something, you might say, oh, I think it's X because Y. As long as you can justify it, then that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Next question. Is it good to use many built-in functions in my solution? I think it's okay, but always make sure to ask or discuss it with your interviewer. Make sure that you mention that, like, I will be using the built-in function X or Y or whatever, and I will tell you either to use it or maybe write it yourself. Next question is, what is one specific behavior or approach during an interview that consistently signals to you that a candidate is a strong hire versus a borderline one?
I think yeah, like I think the things that we already mentioned in like this recap, for example, that Yahya was mentioning, like the framework that we are telling you, like the advice that we're telling you, are actually things we want you to do to give good signals. So like there's no one specific behavior that like says this is like a very strong candidate, or this is like a maybe candidate. It's not like I think the question is like one specific behavior like this. I think you need to follow, if you're talking about the approach, you need to follow a framework. You need to be like methodological about like what you're doing. You don't like jump from ideas to code or whatever. Like you don't jump to code immediately. It's like there are some kind of like, not like red flags, but things that like make the interviewer go bad for you as interviewer. If you just don't like test your assumptions, or like these, I think the answer to the question is like the same recap that Yahya was saying, and all our answers for the previous questions. But there's not one specific behavior. I think that's it just says like because I think it's like the entire thing, not like a behavior.
Yes. Next question: what security concepts or DSA applications are essential for a software engineer SRE intern interview? So I think this already mentioned in our previous session. Also, the links are posted here just 4 comments above. So you can just check it. There is all the essentials and all the topics you need as an intern or full-time candidate. Yeah, so
Thank you so much.
that was the last question, I think so.
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up here. Thank you so much for attending this session today. I hope you enjoyed it. We did. And if you have any feedback for us, if you have any topics that we can add to our next sessions, make sure to scan this QR code and fill in the feedback survey. And again, thank you. Thank you, Zain. Thank you, Yahya. And thank you, Heba and Ala, for hosting us today. And yeah, see you in the next session.
Thank you all. See you.
Yeah.
Thank you. See you.